All right. Hi, Krishna, everyone. Thank you so much for joining again for a reading call. Just to recap, we are reading from the Bhagavad Gita as it is, and we have successfully completed reading the first three chapters, and we are now continuing on the fourth chapter, which is entitled The Transcendental Knowledge. As part of a reading yesterday, we discussed three verses, which were the verse number 5 and verse number 6 from the Bhagavad Gita, fourth chapter. The verse number And these are the verses where now Krishna starts to give the reply to Arjuna's question as to uh, how is it that you uh, you're saying Krishna he's telling Krishna that how is it that you have given this knowledge to the sun god Vivaswan, even though both of us are contemporary. In reply to that, Krishna, as part of the fifth verse, he explains that there have been many, many births when both of us have been together. I remember all those births, but you do not. And then Krishna goes on to explain, and as part of that purport, we understood how Krishna's body is eternal and there is no difference between his soul and his body, and that's why he remembers all of this. And we have our bodies are temporary, as we have discussed as part of the second chapter as well. And we end up identifying with the body, and we believe that our entire identity is linked to the body, therefore, we end up forgetting our previous birth. And then Krishna continues the same discussion, talking about how his body never deteriorates and he is unborn and he comes by his own will, by his internal energy. He keeps appearing time and again. So, moving on with our discussion, I hope that gives a brief recap to everyone. Uh, okay, Rohan, no worries. Yeah. So let's start with the reading today. If anyone has any questions from yesterday that they were not able to ask, or anything that they want to add, anything they want to reflect before we start today. All right. Uh, Francesco, will you be able to read?
Yes, Prabhu.
Yeah, I can recite the Sanskrit. यदा यदा हि धर्मस्य ग्लानिर्भवति भारत अभ्युत्थानमधर्मस्य तदात्मानं सृजाम्यहम्.
Translation. Whenever and wherever there is a decline in religious practice or descendant of Bharata, and a predominant rise of irreligion, at that time I descend myself. Purport. The word Shriryami is significant herein. Shriryami cannot be used in the sense of creation because, according to the previous verse, there is no creation of the Lord's form or body, since all of the forms are eternally existent. Therefore, Shriryami means that the Lord manifests himself as he is, although the Lord appears on schedule, namely at the end of the Dvapara Yuga of the 28th millennium of the seventh Manu in one day of Brahma. He has no obligation to adhere to such rules and regulations because he is completely free to act in many ways at his will. He, therefore, appears by his own will whenever there is a predominance of religion and a disappearance of the true religion. Principles of religion are laid down in the Vedas, and any discrepancy in the matter of properly executing the rules of the Vedas makes one irreligious. In the Bhagavatam, it is stated that such principles are the laws of the Lord. Only the Lord can manufacture a system of religion. The Vedas are also accepted as originally spoken by the Lord himself to Brahma from within his heart. Therefore, the principles of Dharma or religion are the direct orders of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Dharmam to Shaks. I'm sorry, I can't read this.
Dharmam tu sakshat bhagavat pranitam.
These principles are clearly indicated through the Bhagavad Gita. The purpose of the Vedas is to establish such principles under the order of the Supreme Lord, and the Lord directly orders, at the end of the Gita, that the highest principle of religion is to surrender unto Him only. and nothing more. The Vedic principles push one towards complete surrender unto him, and whenever such principles are disturbed by the demoniac, the Lord appears. From the Bhagavatam, we understand that Lord Buddha is the incarnation of Krishna, who appeared when materialism was rampant and materialists were using the pretext of the authority of the Vedas. Although there are certain restrictive rules and regulations regarding animal sacrifice for particular purposes in the Vedas, people of demonic tendency still took to animal sacrifice without reference to the Vedic principles. Lord Buddha appeared in order to stop this nonsense and to establish the Vedic principles of non-violence. Therefore, each and every avatara or incarnation of the Lord has a particular mission, and they are all described in the revealed scriptures. No one should be accepted as an avatara unless he is referred to by the scriptures. It is not a fact that the Lord appears only on Indian soil. He can manifest himself anywhere and everywhere, and whenever he desires to appear. In each and every incarnation, he speaks as much about religion as can be understood by the particular people under their particular circumstances. But the mission is the same, to lead people to God consciousness and obedience to the principles of religion. Sometimes he descends personally, and sometimes he sends his bona fide representative in the form of his son or servant or himself in some disguised form. The principles of the Bhagavad Gita were spoken to Arjuna and, for that matter, to other highly elevated persons, because he was highly advanced compared to ordinary persons in other parts of the world. 2 plus 2 equals 4 is a mathematical principle that is true in the beginner's arithmetic class and in the advanced class as well. Still, there are higher and lower mathematics. In all incarnations of the Lord, therefore, the same principles are taught, but they appear to be higher and lower in varied circumstances. The higher principles of religion begin with the acceptance of the four orders of the four statuses of social life, as will be explained later. The whole purpose of the mission of incarnations is to assure Krishna consciousness everywhere. Such consciousness is manifest and non-manifest only under different circumstances.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so
Hare
much,
Krishna.
Francesco. So now, this verse, yesterday we ended our purport at a question as to uh, a question may now be raised why the Lord appears and disappears in this world. So now this is a reply to that question, and this moves ahead in that understanding that why Krishna appears. So this verse primarily talks about the circumstances of Krishna's appearance or the Lord's appearance in general. So it talks that how Krishna appears by his own will. Like there is some mathematical calculation and in terms of understanding about when Krishna appears, at what time, at the end of which yuga, and what millennium, all of this is there. But above all of that, he is yet completely free and in many ways at his own will. So here Krishna is saying that when does he appear? Whenever there is a decline in religious practices. At that time, and a rise in irreligion, at that time Krishna will appear. So now, as part of the purport, now Srila Prabhupada goes on to explain for all of us that what is this religion and what is this irreligion that Krishna is talking of in this verse. So Krishna is, it is very clearly explained, as it was said over here, Dharmam tu sakshat bhagavat pranitam, that religious principles are the principles that have been, that are direct orders of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And the Supreme Personality of Godhead, as we've been reading, Shri Bhagavan Vacha, or the Supreme Personality of Godhead said, this book, but the Bhagavad Gita, are the orders of this Lord in order to establish the principles of religion for all humanity to come. And that is why we are studying this. And Krishna gives this knowledge again and again to establish what the religious principles are for every one of us to understand that. Then the next part of the purport was highlighting another aspect. So this, I think, the next part was highlighting about the whenever and wherever aspect of this line, which is very, very significant because When we understand that the incarnation of Lord is not really, on one side we are saying that if we agree to this, we understand that how the incarnation of Lord is not, he is completely free to act in any ways. This also includes that he is completely free to act in any way in terms of the geographical location. It is not necessary that the Lord has to appear only in the Indian subcontinent or in some other. He is open to take his incarnation anywhere and everywhere. And there are various ways he can take incarnation, as we will read in the future purports, that there are various ways the Lord takes incarnations. Some of them are in the form of his, he may appear himself in his eternal form, or sometimes he may send his empowered representatives. And this refers to a lot of the other religions that are practiced in the world, where empowered representatives of the Lord are there, because the whole root of the every religion is just one thing, is it is to the spread and explain the religious principles to the vast majority. In the same way, it is explained that Lord Buddha, he appeared, and he said that he told everyone to stop the practice of following the Vedas, because the whole purpose was, it is not that he was saying that the Vedas are wrong. He realized that at that particular moment, at that time, the Veda people were misusing the Vedas, and that's why he's denied the Vedas altogether, because he came with that very specific purpose. Every incarnation of the Lord takes a very specific purpose, and he will execute it in that fashion which is appropriate for that specific setting. But the root cause of all of that is when there is rise of religion, and then there is decline of religion, and when he needs to reciprocate with his devotees. So that's why. And now the last part of this says that this Bhagavad Gita is the highest principles. This is the advanced mathematical advanced principles, which is like the extremely pure form of all these religious instructions that Krishna is giving over here to Arjuna in order for all of us to learn. I hope that makes some sense. I'm sorry I went a little longer in this explanation. Does anyone have any questions or any comments that they want to add? All right, let's move on. I don't think we'll be able to complete this entire purport, but we can start with this. Uh, Rohan said he won't be able to read. Dr. Sujat, will you be able to read?
Hello.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
Which?
can. I can recite the Sanskrit.
Yeah, yeah.
परित्राणाय साधूनां विनाशाय च दुष्कृतां धर्मसंस्थापनार्थाय सम्भवामि युगे युगे.
Yeah. It is the verses of Lord Krishna to deliver the pious and heal the miscreants, as well as to establish the principles of religion. I myself appear millennium after millennium. Okay. According to the Bhagavad Gita, or part, according to the Bhagavad Gita, a sadhu, holy man, is a man in Krishna consciousness. A person may appear to be irreligious, but if he has the qualifications of sorry, if he has the qualifications of Krishna consciousness wholly and fully, he is to be understood to be a sadhu. And dus, duskritam means miscreant.
Yes.
Yeah. Duskritam applies to those who do not care for Krishna consciousness. First miscreants or duskritams are described as foolish and the lowest of mankind, even though they may be decorated with the mundane education. Whereas a person who is 100% engaged in Krishna consciousness is accepted as sadhu, even though such a person may be neither learned nor well cultured. As far as the atheists are concerned, it is not necessary for the Supreme Lord to appear as he is to destroy them. As he is to oh, he did with the demoness Ravana and Kamsa. The Lord has unallied devotees who are all the many agents who are quite competent to vanquish demons. But the Lord specially listens to appease his unallied devotees who are always harassed by the demoniac. The demon harasses the devotee, even though the latter may happen to be his king. Although Prahalad Maharaj was the son of Hiranyakashipu, he was nonetheless persecuted by his father. Although Devaki, the mother of Krishna, was a sister of Kamsa, she and her husband Vasudevas were persecuted only because Krishna was to be born unto them. So Lord Krishna appeared primarily to deliver Devaki rather than kill Kamsa. But both were performed simultaneously. Therefore, it is said here that to deliver the devotee and vanquish the demons, miscreants, the Lord appears in different incarnations.
Hare
Okay.
Krishna. We can
Okay.
pause over here
Yeah.
because it is already 9:20. Uh, I will just highlight one or two sentences from this and we can continue on this purport again next week. So now, in the previous verse, we saw that what are the circumstantial situations under which Krishna appears. In this verse, it establishes what are the reasons why Krishna appears. So now he says that to deliver the pious and to annihilate the miscreants. And the third thing is to re-establish the principles of religion. I appear myself millennium after millennium. So now, as part of the purport, the first paragraph that we read, we understood that Srila Prabhupada gives us a definition or a way to understand who are these pious people or who are these sadhus. They are the ones who are trying to uphold the principles of religion by practicing Krishna consciousness or God consciousness in complete and whole understanding. And the dushkritam or the miscreants that over here that is referred in the translation refers to those who are uh, who are against this and who are trying to oppose the practice of religion. And that is a reason why Krishna is appearing. And then, as we will read further, we understand that the primary purpose why Krishna appears is not to annihilate. And that's why it is a second part of his reasoning why he comes. The most important is to deliver the pious and how he wants to reciprocate with his devotees. So, killing of the demons is just a side allied effect of his appearance. But the primary reason for Krishna's appearance is his reciprocation with his devotees, as we will read further in this purport. Uh, so we can take a break over here. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining. I really appreciate each one of you taking time every single day to join this reading calls and trying to study and understand these very important instructions by the Lord. If anyone has any questions, any comments, please feel free to add before we end today's call.
A question, but
Mhm.
it's regarding the previous verse. It's about the times. It was saying something about so many years and a time lapse. I think it was a manu or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, 7 manu. What is that?
Uh, so Kaushik Prabhu, can you answer this? I don't know this exactly about. Uh, I know just the
Yes.
basic parts of it. That how in one day of Brahma there are 14 Manus that appear, and Krishna appears as part of. Kaushik Prabhu, I think it's better if you take over.
No, yeah, it's just a detail. So it is mentioned in the scriptures that, of course, the incarnations of the Lord keep appearing again and again. Um, different incarnations of the Lord keep appearing. But as we discussed last time, that Krishna is the origin of all incarnations, Swayam Bhagavan Krishna. So he himself, in his original form, appears only once in a day of Brahma, and that's when he specifically manifests or displays his childhood pastimes, which are extremely sweet, especially those pastimes in Vrindavan. So those are only shown once in a day of Brahma. So we discussed once about how long is the day of Brahma, and that is like the total day of Brahma will be like 1,000 Divya Yugas, and it comes to around, it's a very long time, 1,000 Divya. So each Divya Yuga is 4.3 million years. Do you remember, Francisco? We discussed this 4.3 million years. And if you
Yeah.
multiply it by 1,000, so that will be the total day of Brahma. So in that
Mhm.
total day of Brahma, Krishna appears once. And when specifically appears is basically around the middle, which is 28th millennium of 7th Manu. So okay, so there are total 14 Manus, as Rishi Prabhu mentioned. So 14 Manus are there in the day of Brahma, and there are 1,000 Divya Yugas. So if you divide 1,000 by 14, it comes to around 71, like that. So there are total 71 Manu, 71 Divya Yugas for each Manu. So each Manu will rule for 71 Divya Yugas. And within the seventh Manu, so total 14 in that seventh Manu, which is Vaivasvata Manu, correct, Vaivasvata Manu, which is the current Manu. So within the seventh Manu, like the 20th millennium, in that particular Dwapar Yoga, Krishna appears, which is the current Dwapar Yoga, basically. So we can imagine in such a big duration, Krishna appears only once, and that happens to be only 5,000 years ago. So it's basically a very rare event, and it has happened very close to us. That is what we can understand. Hope this makes sense. So if you actually, there are details, but if you calculate, it comes around like it's like 50% of the time of Brahma's day is completed already, because there are 14 Manus, and this is the seventh Manu, which is Vaivasvata Manu, and in that the 28th millennium. So it's approximately 28th millennium is out of that 71. So 71 Divya Yugas which come under each Manu. So within that 71, this is the 28th for the seventh Manu, like that. But it is all detail, but we can understand that Krishna is very, very rare. He appears not very often, and it is very special that we are very close to his appearance. This is makes sense little bit.
Yes, it makes a lot of sense. I was thinking that it says when a day of Brahma, I thought that it's like a Monday or something like that. A day that was had another name, but now, yeah, now it's very, very clear.
Correct. Once in a day
Yeah.
of Brahma, correct. Yes.
Mhm.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much for the question and wonderful answer, Kaushik Prabhu. Uh, so, one thing that is very important, like Kaushik Prabhu also highlighted, these are details which are very important for all of us to also focus on. But at the same time, we should not sidetrack what the underlying principle that we are trying to learn and understand from these verses. It is very important that we focus and keep a vigilant eye on the details and try and understand the details as far as possible. But it should not distract us from the underlying principle that we are trying to learn. So, thank you so much for asking these questions. Uh, if anyone has any other question or any comment before we end today's call, all right then. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining. We'll again meet next Monday. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.